right, you too. What's going on? This is the Father Son Fantasy Football Podcast. Dad, say what's up.
What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing?
And we are joined today by Anthony Cervino from Gridiron Experts. What's going on, Anthony?
Welcome, Anthony.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we just recorded a great episode about the NFC East Part 1. We did Giants and Cowboys. You had some great stats right there and great analysis and just casual fantasy football talk. So once again, we are a podcast first. So go in the description below, click on any link, whatever device you have, or just type in Father Son Fantasy Football into any podcast. You'll probably find us there. And check that out. It was a really good episode. We had fun talking Giants and Cowboys. So we're joined by Anthony, like we said, and we're going to ask him who the one guy he does not want to miss out on drafts this year is. We've had some great guests with some great picks before, like Sammy Watkins, and we also had Larry Fitzgerald. So, Anthony, who is your guy you do not want to miss out on the drafts this year?
I don't want to go with the obvious player, so I'm going to go with the unobvious player, and that's Chris Ivory. Ever since he signed with the Buffalo Bills, I've been all over Chris Ivory everywhere I can because I believe he will have a role, whether or not LaShawn McCoy's on the field. McCoy is coming off of a year where he had the most touches since, I believe, 2014. He is entering his age 30 season. Now, I know Ivory's also 30 years old, but he has less wear and tear on the body. If you remember back to 2 and 3 years ago, it was Carlos Williams and Mike Gillislee, and then it was Mike Gillislee, and they were outstanding RB2s behind McCoy. And last year, they didn't have that. They tried it with Mike Tolbert, and it didn't pan out. I think Chris Ivory is going to come over and have a tremendous role for the Bills.
Wow. I did not expect that one.
No,
Dad.
I
Did you
did
expect
not.
that one?
No, I did not expect that one.
8 to 10 touchdown upside in standard scoring formats. And Ivory, he's going in rounds 14 to 16.
It's free.
I mean, he could be right, too. I had Tolbert as a backup last year. I used him a few times. He did nothing, really. Nothing for me. So Ivory could do something.
Yeah, I mean, now you mentioned that's not a bad pick at all. He's free in drafts. McCoy, we don't know what's going to happen with the whole thing right now. I'm not going to get into that, but he's got all that mileage on him. So
I'm trying to look up the stat right now. And it was in 2015, Carlos Williams had 7, 8, 9 touchdowns, and then Gillislee had 8 the following year.
Wow, so the running back.
And that's behind McCoy.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they don't really have much of a passing attack, and this is probably the worst offense they've ever had in a while. Their offensive line's bad, but hey, they'll get in the red zone at least a couple times this whole year, so I could see him putting in McCoy or even Ivory, like you just said, and getting those touchdowns, because touchdowns, they get you fantasy points.
So that they have that much upside behind McCoy. I just don't see LaShawn McCoy handling all those touches again.
Yeah, I can see that too. And you don't even have to reach for Chris Ivory because a lot of people are going to be avoiding this Bills offense, like my dad. I know you are. So you don't have to. You can wait there, sit in your seat, and then pick him up in the 14th, 15th, 16th round and not even worry about it. Nice little bench stash, and you could put in some bye week replacement.
Right. Yep. The opportunity he has, I'm big on opportunity over metrics. And anytime you have a player who could, he's a handcuff, but he'll have a role.
Yes, he will, right there. And what is one draft day tip you can give our listeners and viewers?
If you're going into your draft with a strategy, and then the draft starts dictating you get off your strategy. Let the draft dictate what you're doing. Because you don't want to pass up on a player whose tremendous value that's falling to you just because, I'm not supposed to draft a wide receiver here. That's not my strategy. I'm going to go 0 wide receiver. But, somebody like Larry Fitzgerald falls to the 5th or 6th round. You have to go for him.
Yeah, I made a mistake last year myself.
I'm a value-based drafter.
You bring up a value point there, too. Another great tip for people, because how many times do you go into a draft, already set, this is what I'm going to do. After the second, third round, boom, everything changes. It can change in an instant. That's a great tip.
It's a great tip, yeah. I'm a
tip. And also, don't forget about kickers and defense. If you're playing in a league and you have defense, special teams, and kickers in the scoring system, I'm not telling everybody to go out there and draft them in the 8th round. But don't wait until the final 2 rounds like everybody else does, because there are teams scooping their defenses up a little bit earlier, and they're getting the top defense. And speaking personally, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were a steal last year, they won me a championship.
Yep.
So don't wait until the final 2 rounds. but also don't go too early.
All right, that's 2 tips right
another
there.
good
We just
tip.
got
That's
2
another
draft day
good
tips
tip.
in one episode. That wasn't even supposed to happen, but it did.
I always wait to the end. I might have to redo my strategy there.
Oh wow, right there.
Well, you're not going to pick them early, but
Yeah, no, that's
not
not a
your
bad
last. Their last 2 picks usually pick a kicker and a defense. So it's just
Right. If you're
good tip.
starting 10 positions and one of them's a kicker and one of them's a defense and special teams, that's 2/10 of your points.
Yep, I didn't look at it that way either.
Numbers game. Boom.
Another great tip.
All right, Anthony, that was a great tip right there and a great player that I did not see coming. Neither did my dad, I
No.
don't think. So where can people find you at again? And what are you doing right now in the fantasy world?
I'm a head writer at Gridiron Experts, so you can see my work at gridironexperts.com, including my weekly sleepers article that I do in season. And you can also listen to my show at the FF Face Off. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, anywhere a podcast can be hosted, including iTunes. And you can follow the show handle at the FF Face Off and myself on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru.
Yeah, definitely go do that. I listened to the podcast a couple times. It's a great podcast. I definitely picked up a few things in the last episode they just posted. So go check that out and follow him on Twitter. He's a great follow. He tweets out some quality stuff and writes some great stuff over there at Gridiron Experts. So yeah, once again, thank you for coming on the show, Anthony.
Yes, thank you for your time, Anthony.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.